Evening. Thursday evening. We're doing it a day early
We
because
are.
yeah. Are you out tomorrow? Did you say?
I've got a work thing.
Work.
Yeah, we've got a work conference followed by a barbecue. But apparently they have a total wipeout, a bucking bronco,
Right.
pizza van. So yes, very entertaining evening. So yeah, and is it tomorrow that you're out as well? Is
We've
it
got
birthdays,
a birthday
celebrations?
tea. Yeah, we've got a birthday tea.
Yes.
It's somebody's birthday today. It's my partner's little boy's birthday today,
Oh, it's two birthdays. It's Tom's birthday today as well.
happy birthday, Tom.
Yeah.
Um,
Happy
and then
birthday. Is it Leo? No.
no, not Leo. Oh, I don't know actually. Is it Cancer,
They're
maybe?
cancers, yeah, they're cancers. So two birthdays today, important day.
Two birthdays, yeah. So we're going out tomorrow night because it's Friday, and I finish early tomorrow. Finish earlier than normal, so I'm going to take that. Absolutely take that. Yeah. So we're going out and then we've got my niece's birthday on Sunday, so it's a weekend of birthdays. Although
Amazing.
I don't relish necessarily going to a party where there's lots of screaming. Sort of, I think she's six,
Ooh.
screaming 6-year-olds. Yeah. Not my idea of fun, but I've done my time. Done
Look,
my
it'll be good fun, I'm sure.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. So if I'm slightly insane next week, you'll understand why.
Yeah, or death. That's
Cool. So we've got not many questions. We've got a few good ones.
Yeah, a couple of bits. So we'll start off with one of them. This one wasn't so much a question, but from the reflection and the journaling was a bit of a theme across all of the girls in the Shaping Up this week, which was around hydration. So just thinking of ways to cover off like different ways to how to keep hydrated, how to track your hydration, and how much really should we be drinking in a day.
Yeah. Yeah, because we've had the first week of the shaping up the next rotation this week,
We have.
which is good. And all of them have carried on, which is great.
Yeah.
And they're all from looking at the checking the daily reflection that we get them to do. I think that's been a really good a
Yeah.
kind of tool to introduce. And it's something that I know you do as well. You do sort of daily reflection, and I do. And actually, that's something we can just reiterate. And we've talked about it before, but just something that's really, really useful. Reflect on the day. I had my own coach call today, and we were talking about reflecting. And part of my issue is that, and this is something that I've discovered is quite common with people who suffer with ADHD, is that you're not very good at. So when you've got a list of jobs and people tick them off, I've had this conversation with a few people. So I sort of asked the question, when you've got a list of things and you tick them off, do you feel satisfaction? And lots of people go, yeah, I love ticking these things. I'll even write stuff on and tick it off just to get satisfaction. Well, it's a common thing amongst those who struggle with ADHD that you don't get that satisfaction because you're constantly thinking that there's more things to do afterwards. So you never really feel like you're getting anywhere. And reflection is something that if I sort of feel like, oh, I've not really achieved much this day, and then I go through, well, actually, I've done this, 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 and this. You kind of it helps me just feel a little bit more kind of accomplished at the end of the day. I'm sitting there in the evening and I can switch off and I go, you know what, I've achieved what I needed to. I don't need to stress about, because otherwise I'm terrible. I'll sit with my laptop open at 9:30 at night. And we need to switch off. It's really important to switch off and build that time into a day. And that's something that my coaching call today was focusing on, building in that time. And I guess we talked about planning in throughout the week, when not just when you're going to do your jobs, when you're going to do your prep, when you're doing your work or your workouts, but actually planning in that downtime, even if it's just 15, 20 minutes, when you're going to have that time to sit down, relax, recuperate, switch off. And that's something that I'm working on in the next 2 weeks. I'm planning in that time. And I think that's with the reflection, that's something that we can bring into the shaping up thing as well. So no, I think a successful week. They all seem really positive. So
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing how much they can achieve over the next over the next 8 weeks. So
Weeks. Yeah. no, it's been really good to look at. And seeing how actually, like I say, that reflection then leads into the next day and thinking about what you've actually achieved. So it's been really good to see and be able to have a look at that progress there as well. Definitely.
Hydration. So what was this specific thing? So what we were looking at?
Yeah, it's like I say, it wasn't more a question. It was a common theme. Like I say, through most of them was just a thing to work on for the next day was all about hydration, drinking enough water, and keeping hydrated. And it was just a very common one. It wasn't just one person, it was, a few. So yeah, just thought if we can cover up some bits on, ways to hydrate, what counts. Are we just thinking about water? When we're thinking about, oh, I need to drink more, are we just including water when we think about being hydrated? How are we tracking how much we're drinking, and how much should we realistically be drinking?
So there's lots of stuff here with the hydration that you can go through. The first, I guess, is how much water. That's it. It depends. Yeah, as with everything, it depends. I mean,
Yeah.
the standard where people go, oh, drink 2 to 3 liters of water, that's a fairly good amount, but you kind of have to think about you kind of have to think about kind of body shape, body size, activity levels, age, all of these sorts of things. Generally, I would say in terms of amounts, it's normally about 30 milliliters of water per kilogram of body weight as a rough kind of guide. And that's a really rough guide. So for example, if you're 100 kilos, that's 3,000 milliliters or 3 liters of water as a baseline. And I would suggest that is for somebody who is sort of lightly to moderately active. If you are going to be more active, if it's hot, like today has been really hot and you're going to perspire a little bit more, then you might need a bit more water. But if you aim for kind of 30 mils per kilo, it's a good starting point. The best way to tell whether you are hydrated is check the color of your wee. It's as simple as that. If it's pale, then you're probably drinking enough water. If it's not, then you need to drink more. Okay, or drink more fluids. I mean, we keep saying water, but
Yes.
yeah, everything really counts. I mean, to a degree, absolutely every liquid will count, and also the food that you eat. So we get a lot of our fluids from the food, especially if we eat plenty of fruit and veg. They are high water containing food, so we will get water from that as well. But it's kind of every fluid. We tend not to include alcohol because that has a higher diuretic effect, so it makes you kind of excrete more water. Although having said that, it does sort of hydrate you, but we don't really count it because you're not going to be drinking copious amounts of alcohol. It's not good for you. But anything like even coffee and tea, unless you're espressos, coffee and tea will count. But water, fruit juices, milk, your sugar-free drinks as well. All of those things count. The reason most trainers will say water is that it's 0 calorie.
Yes, yeah. You can drink as much as you like. You don't need to track it or any, well, in the sense of track it with your energy allowance through the day, because it's not adding to that.
It's the only it's calorie free. But in terms of hydrating, you're looking at things like fruit juices, you're looking at milk, even your kind of diet soft drinks, Coke and Diet Coke is more hydrating than water. That's not to say that that's all you should be drinking. It's in moderation. Obviously, we don't want to drink too much of any kind of fluid, especially. I know people kind of go, oh, sweeteners in Diet Coke, but water is probably the best in terms of calorie counting, but anything that you drink will count towards it. And the best way to track it is just keep carrying bottles around with you or have glasses with you and track that sort of thing. So if I've got a bottle that is 750 mils. I need to drink at least 2 of those across the day. So I know I've got 1.5 liters of fluids in, sort of that way. And then I'll top it up with things like coffee, I'll have juice and things like that. And if you don't like water, just stick some sugar-free juice in. It doesn't have to, it could be any sort of thing. So I've got those, the little squirty bottles of really hot. Add something like that in, or If you've done a workout, if I've done a particularly hard workout and I've sweated a lot, I'll stick an electrolyte tablet in to give it some flavor and add some electrolytes. So
Yeah.
there's things like that you can add into it as well, just to add some flavor. But yeah, so 30 mils of water per kilo. Have a bottle with you that you can top up so you can track how much you're drinking. Tips to increase: I tend to have a glass of water or something with every meal. So I'll have breakfast, I'll have a large glass of water, I'll have a large glass of water or something like that, with normally a bottle of water with my lunch, and then the same again with the evening meal. And then I'll try and drink at least one, if not two, of those bottles of water throughout the day as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's with this time of the year and with the weather set to get a little bit warmer, it's really important to make sure that you are hydrating correctly as well. So,
And
yeah.
it's the benefits of it are massive, because water is the most important thing for life. You know, you can live without food for a few weeks or even a few months, depending on how much body fat you've got stored. But water, you can only survive 2 or 3 days before, you know, there are serious consequences and even death. So we do need it. It increases the efficiency of the body to be able to perform all of its kind of chemical reactions. It can increase energy levels. It can help to reduce appetite. It's not magic for fat loss. If you have a large glass of water before a meal, it can help you feel fuller quicker. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to eat masses of massively fewer calories, but it can help to reduce the amount you're eating. But it also doesn't mean that you're going to be fuller for longer. And just there's one other thing that I kind of read recently as well. This idea that, you know, if you're thirsty, if you're hungry, you might be thirsty. That's a little bit of a myth. That is a little bit of a myth.
Yeah.
However, you can have a drink to distract yourself, because yeah, you might not be hungry, but it might just be boredom. So have something that's sweet. So that's where I'll use like your Diet Cokes and things. I'll have that to satisfy that sweet craving,
Yeah.
distract me from reaching for the chocolate, which we all do.
And
We
there's
all
nothing wrong with that if that's what you want. But
absolutely.
yeah, like you
Yeah,
say, it's hunger you'll feel in the stomach.
yeah,
Thirst you'll tend to feel like in the mouth, like you'll get a dry mouth, your
yeah.
lips will feel dry and you'll tell that way. So yeah, it will feel very like the signaling from your body will be very different between the two. But yeah, water can help, like you say, make you feel a bit fuller.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It's just
it's
alertness. And you know, if you're dehydrated, you are going to feel fatigued, you're going to feel a bit of brain fog, you're going to be less active. So if you are well hydrated, it's going to improve your activity levels, it's going to improve your concentration and brain function, makes you more alert, can make you feel more awake. So absolutely keep topping up with that hydration. And the best way of checking, like I say, next time you go to the loo, check your wee. If it's coming out dark, then you need to drink more water. If it's clear or very pale, straw pale, then you're probably fine.
perfect.
Cool.
And then the next one is this one was more of a question, is ideas for high protein breakfasts that don't involve protein powder.
Right. There's loads. There are loads, and it depends. I mean, a lot of it depends on how much time you've got, and you know, whether you need to eat breakfast on the go or whether you are able to make something at home. But literally anything, you know, I've got people who'll have, I know people at the gym who'll sit there and have their chicken and rice at breakfast because
Yeah.
that much. And I think you live with one of those people.
No, so this was actually this is quite a good question, one that I have got a good response to, is being in that world, sometimes these crazy men and women who do the bodybuilding have to eat obviously a lot, even if they are cutting. It's still that very much like that focus on that protein for that muscle building. So I was actually tasked with finding a good breakfast option. And you know what we came up with, I actually managed to get it like cut down the calories as well. It started off quite high calorie but very high protein, which is breakfast bagels, and it's very much one that we could prep ahead as well. So it's like bagel thins, bacon medallions, chicken sausages, lighter slice of cheese. You know, I'd just cook them all up for the week on the tin foil, wrap them up, put them in the fridge, and he'd eat them cold. I'd probably have to reheat them, but they were very, very tasty. But yeah, eggs are a really good option. Like you say, it just depends how much time you have and what you see as a breakfast food. there are people in the industry that will say, you know, any food, like you can eat anything for breakfast. If you want a chicken curry for breakfast, go for it. Like no one's going to stop you. But if you're thinking more traditional breakfast foods, if you're looking more savory, eggs, omelets, if you've got the time, you can use more egg whites if you want to reduce the fat slightly. They're all really good options, and you can then put your fillings in your omelets of, like, you know, your cheeses, your meats and everything like that. If you prefer the sweet option, that's where Greek yogurt can be a really good option. I think it's sometimes overlooked with how high protein it is. You know, berries, handful of berries, different fruits. And then some Greek yogurt is a really good, and again, one that you can have on the go. So yeah, there's loads of different options where you don't need to add that protein powder in.
The key thing with it is the quantity, it's the portion. So the problem with people when they're looking at high protein breakfast and why they sort of think that they need to turn to protein powder. See, protein powder is a 25-gram scoop, which is a small scoop. That's 20 grams of protein, you know, and then they go, well, I'm going to have eggs for breakfast. 2 eggs is only going to be 12, 13 grams of protein. That is not a high protein breakfast. If you're going to have an omelette, then you could, it more like 4 eggs.
Yeah.
But looking at, you know, there's quite a lot of fat in that. And especially if, and it's, again, not to say that fat is bad, but, you know, it's, you
exactly,
look 140 calories for sort of 24, 25 grams of protein, which is not bad. That's fine. But if you're trying to really cut back on the calories, then that's where you'd add the egg white. So you can go and get your egg whites and add that in. So I always kind of do one egg and then maybe 200 grams of egg whites just to kind of make the omelette up, because I mean, egg whites on their own are miserable.
So you need a bit of yolk. You can't just have the egg whites. It's
exactly. And then with Greek yogurt, instead of having like a couple of tablespoons, which might be 100 grams, you need sort of 200 to 250 grams of that. And that is filling. It's a lot of yogurt and it's very filling. So 250 grams of zero fat Greek yogurt, you're probably looking at around about 150 calories, but you are going to get 25 grams of protein. And then you can top that up with, you know, if you added a couple of nuts on the top for healthy fats and extra protein, you know, a little bit of fruit, drizzle of honey. And if you don't like protein powder in terms of your smoothies or stuff like that, then mixing that through the Greek yogurt can be a good alternative, and you can sort of disguise the flavor or the texture. I guess it's the texture. And you can disguise it. But yeah, eggs, salmon bagels. I do breakfast, like my version of the McDonald's. There are other fast food chain restaurants, but they, you know, the breakfast muffins. So muffins or even bagel thins, and I've stuffed things like bacon medallions, chicken sausages,
scrambled egg,
just stuff like that. And you can make it so you can have a hot breakfast. And those muffins you can make in advance. So I'll make 4 of them up, and then that's my breakfast for the week. And all I do is reheat them, just stick them in the microwave for a minute and reheat them, or you can eat them cold. But there are lots of options. The key though is looking at the protein content. So if you are having eggs, 2 eggs is not enough. You'll need at least 3, if not 4. And again, it's the amount of protein. You know, some people kind of think, oh, I've got to hit 40 to 50 grams of protein for breakfast. You don't. If you know, remember how to work out your protein intake. So it's you're aiming for, depending on, and I guess this is the other thing as well. You get a lot of people saying, oh, you should be eating 150 grams of protein. That is a ton of protein.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's what I aim for. So I'm a guy who's 85 kilos. I'm aiming for 150 grams of protein plus every day. And that's for me and my goals, because I'm lean, and I'm trying to maintain muscle whilst being in a slight deficit. So that works for me, because that means that I'm hitting 1.8 to 2 grams of protein per kilogram of lean. And that's the key thing. So if you are somebody who's got quite a lot of fat to lose, so let's say you're trying to lose 2 or 3 stone or more, then pick your goal weight, multiply that by 1.5, and that will give you your protein target. If you are somebody who's only needing to lose maybe a stone, then again, you know, you could take your body weight now and multiply that by 1.5, and that will give you a more appropriate number. But it's look at what your total protein is, divide that by 3. So say, for example, you've got a woman who's 70 kilos, probably got maybe 5 kilos to lose. Okay, so I go, right, 1.5 times 70 gives you 105 grams. Divide that by 3, that gives you 35. So, you know, you might go, right, I need 30 to 35 grams of protein for breakfast. You might even say, actually, I find it easier to get protein in from my evening meal. So I might go 40, 45 grams. So I only need 25 grams from a breakfast. That's not that difficult. You can do that with, say, a couple of 100 grams of egg whites and an egg for your omelette. Done. You could do that with 25 grams of Greek yogurt. You could do that with, you know, maybe using some cream cheese and smoked salmon on a bagel. Using those breakfast muffins that I've talked about, you know, those sausage muffins, a few of those sausages and a couple of egg medallions, bacon medallions, you're done. You've hit your target. So I think with that one, look and see what your protein target is.
Yeah.
Be realistic with it. Work it out. So goal weight. If you've got 2 or more stone to lose, goal weight times 1.5. If you've only got a stone to lose, body weight times 1.5. That will give you your protein goal. Divide that by 3 or 4, depending on how many meals you're going to eat. And then that's your protein target. And then look and see then. We've got breakfast. I've got a load of breakfast recipes: salmon and scrambled eggs, salmon and Philly bagel. If you don't mind protein powder, mix it in with your, make a protein shake up, pour that over cereal. There's an easy one. What else? Overnight oats, and you don't need to put protein powder in there, just use lots of yogurt. You could have, breakfast taco boats. Do you know those taco boats that you can get? They're like
Yeah.
Use those and fill them with things like eggs and, you know, put eggs, bacon, top it with some low fat cheese. I make some of those up, and there's 30 grams of protein in those.
The other ones are like the little egg bites.
Yeah.
You know, you get like the eggs, like whisk them all up, put them in the oven in like muffin tins with like your ham or cheese or whatever you want as fillings, and then again have them on the go, a couple of them.
Yeah, and there's nothing stopping you. You know, if you like, I've got a client who likes chicken skewers. So at the beginning of each week, she'll make up a load of these chicken skewers, marinated chicken, air fry them, and then she'll have those with, say, a breakfast, like a mini tortilla, and she'll have like little mini kebabs for breakfast. You know, it's whatever you want.
Whatever you're in the mood for, yeah. There's no rules.
There is no rules. So it's just think about the type of thing you fancy. So if you want sweet for breakfast, you're probably looking at your Greek yogurt with your fruit, maybe some overnight oats and adding a ton of Greek yogurt in there. If you like savory, then the world's your oyster. There's loads of stuff.
Yeah, amazing. Then which is better for fat loss, cardio or weight training?
This is one, and I said before we came on, this is a question that I get asked a lot in the gym, and it's something that I see people asking a lot. And you see all these weird and wonderful exercises, best things for fat loss. Walk on the treadmill at level 12 at 5 kilometers an hour for 30 minutes or something. It's just no. I mean, a lot of this comes from a lot of the argument between cardio and weight training comes from this idea of the fat burning zone.
Yeah.
And this, you know, and yes, it's true. If you are working at a certain intensity where your heart rate is at a certain level, about 60% of your maximum theoretical heart rate, then you're probably going to be oxidizing fat at a higher rate instead of using carbohydrates. You're going to be using the body fat. It's true that is something that happens. But just because you're burning fat there does not necessarily mean you're going to lose more fat. The key is calorie deficit. So whether you are burning fat with cardio or you're trying to burn fat with cardio and burn calories with cardio, whether you're trying to do increase your activity with weight training, it really doesn't make much difference. You know, the difference between the two of them is minimal. You could argue if you're going to do cardio, you might burn a few more calories. Certainly these things will tell you that that's the case. It's minimal. You know, first of all, these are inaccurate. So when this tells you you've burned 400 calories doing 30 minutes of running, you've probably burnt half that. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not that accurate. And it's the same with your weight training. If you've burnt, say you've done an hour's weight training, it's told you you've burnt 500 calories, you've probably burned 250 to 300. There are some people who say, oh, yeah, but with your weight training, because your muscles need to recover more afterwards, you'll carry on burning more calories. There's an element of truth to that, but not much. And they talk about EPOC, which is kind of this oxygen deficit that's got to be made up in the muscles, and that burns a few more calories. Bottom line is this. Remember when we talked, and we've talked about this in the past, your daily calorie expenditure, 70% of that is living. 10% is by digesting the food that you eat, and that's before you've even accounted for any sort of movement or activity. So 80, somewhere between 70 and 80% of your daily calorie burn is just living and eating. General activity, your NEAT, non-exercise activity, is going to be your next one. That's about 15%. And then your exercise is 5%. And it doesn't really matter how much, unless you're training like 3, 4, 5 hours a day, every day of the week, the amount of exercise you do is not going to massively change that percentage. Anywhere between 5 and 10%. That's nothing. You're talking 200 to 250 calories a day on average. That's a Mars bar. You can scoff that down on a Mars bar. It's that easy. You can spend an hour burning that and 30 seconds eating it.
Yeah.
The question's a moot point. Doesn't really matter whether you are doing cardio or weight training. In terms of fat burning, it's all down to your calorie deficit. Are you consuming fewer calories than you're burning? That's the only way you're going to lose fat. So yeah, and I say this answer to everybody else, oh, cardio or weightlifting, doesn't matter. Do the exercise that you enjoy. So if you don't like cardio, do weight training.
Yeah.
I'm not a massive fan of cardio. I much prefer lifting weights. Lift heavy, shorten the rest time. That increases my heart rate. Or I'll do some kind of WOD type workouts, EMOMs and things like that. But if you like cardio and you're a bit scared of going into the gym, then, if just walking is going to help. Just going out for a walk, get your heart rate up. But in terms of which is best, no, calorie deficit, get your diet sorted first. That is going to be 90% of whether you're going to lose fat or not.
Amazing. Yeah, like I say, the number one thing is definitely your calories. And then, yeah, it's finding the best workout is going to be one that you enjoy, because if you try and do something that you hate, you're not going to be able to stick to it. So try a bit of everything, work out which one you enjoy the most and go with that. But yeah, like you say, focus on your food first.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of exercise, what I would say is this. If you are able to lift weights, and what I mean by that is if you can get access to a gym or some weights, if you are bodily able to lift them, then do it, because it's not about fat loss for that. You've got to think that if you are in a calorie deficit and you are trying to lose weight, you want to make sure that the majority of that weight loss is fat loss. And to do that, we need to make sure that the body knows it's got to keep hold of that muscle. And we do that in 2 ways. 1, get your protein up. Number 2, strength train. Strength training gives your body the stimulus to tell you that we need to keep hold of this muscle. If we're not strength training, your body's going to get rid of muscle as well as fat, because muscle is expensive. In terms of calories, it's expensive. So, you want to tell the body, no, we need this. Yes, it's expensive to keep, but we need it. And that's going to help you maintain your results, because, yeah, muscle does, but not massively. It's not like, oh, a pound of muscle burns 10 times more than fat. It's marginal, but muscle does mean that you are burning you're burning more calories at rest than you would do if you lose it. So build your muscle up, keep your resting metabolic rate up. It's also going to help protect you against falls when you're older. Make sure you're able to move, lift things, do stuff, stay active. So do your strength training, whether that's body weight, light weights, getting in the gym, lifting heavy. Do your strength training. That's going to help you maintain that muscle mass so that you can maintain your results afterwards. That's it. It's nothing to do with fat loss. It's to do with keeping that muscle.
Yeah, 100%. Absolutely. And then that leads into our last one of what is a good rate of fat loss. So if you're looking at weekly, monthly, what would be seen as a good and ideal amount of fat loss?
So the number we've sort of mentioned before is 1 to 2 pounds per week. Ideally, what you're looking at is somewhere between about the bottom. I say the bottom line.
It depends.
Yeah, it does. It depends on how much fat you've got to lose. The more fat you've got to lose, the higher the rate of fat loss. And there was a guy who did a study on this a few years ago, 2016, it was maybe even earlier than that. And he worked out that for every pound of fat that you are holding on to, you can burn 26 calories per pound per day. Okay. So that's not a huge amount, but it's 26 calories per pound of body fat that you've got per day. So I always sort of say 30, it's easier to work with 30 because it's just a nice round number. So if you've got 30 pounds of fat loss to lose, so that's just over 2 stone, then you can burn off 900 calories worth of fat per day. 900 calories, 9 calories per gram, so that's 100 grams of fat per day, roughly. Okay, and that's somebody who has got 30 pounds of body fat to lose. Now, if you've got less body fat, so let's say you've only got 15 pounds or a stone to lose, roughly, then you're only going to be able to burn 450 calories of fat, or 450 calories worth of fat per day, which is 50 grams. So, if you're looking at 100 grams per day across a week, that would give you 700 grams, or around about, not far off 2 pounds, pound and a half. If you've only got 50 grams, that's 350, or about 3/4 of a pound per week. So that's the key thing. It's kind of what's the best rate of fat loss? How much fat do you have to lose?
Yeah.
And if you've not got that much fat to lose, then you are going to lose it more slowly. If you lose it at that higher rate, then there is the risk of losing that muscle mass, which again comes back to what we've just said. Make sure you strength training to keep hold of it. Now, there are protocols that you can do to force the issue. And we've talked about this aggressive dieting and, really high protein, very low calorie. You can force the issue and you can lose body fat at a higher rate. But for most people, it's not sustainable. It's not something I'd recommend because it's hard work, and it can, if you're somebody who's got a poor relationship with food, it can lead on to kind of disordered eating behavior. But yeah, I think that recommendation of £1 to £2 per week for most people is about right, or 0.5 to 1% of your body weight. So if you've got 100 kilo, if your body weight's 100 kilos, then you could lose a kilo a week. If your body weight's 50 kilos, then you're looking at, half a kilo a week as a maximum rate of fat loss.
Yeah.
That's or £2 compared to £1. And that's why we say that's where that 1 to £2 comes from. And anybody who tells you like, oh, I've been on Slimming World and in my first week I lost 7 pounds.
I was about to say that's where it's really hard. It's the people that are, doing some of these diet clubs where actually they start off like that, where they're losing these large amounts. Yeah. They're then the ones that are getting disheartened that as they get closer to their goal, body weight, and then, oh, well, I only lost £1 this week. Yeah, but that's fine. That's normal, but they're not taught why that's normal and why that happened, So yeah.
Let's put this, you're losing £7 in a week. What is most of that weight going to be?
Yeah, it's going to be water weight. Absolutely. When you have a big change in your diet like that, you completely overhaul it. There's going to be a lot of water weight that will naturally come off at the start. And that's where that whole motivation is really high. Yeah, look, lost half a stone, amazing. And then slowly, oh, well, I'm doing everything the same. Like, what am I doing wrong? And it's like absolutely nothing, but that's very, very normal. But it's not always taught that that's normal.
And it's that celebration. It's like, wow, you've lost 7 pounds this week.
Here's your certificate.
Round of applause, great. Let's congratulate Brenda. She's lost 7 pounds this week. And then the next week, Brenda, you've only lost £1. What's gone wrong? She's done exactly the same thing. So she's not done anything wrong. She's done, I've eaten the same food all week. I've eaten the same as I did last week. No, you must have done something different. No,
So
all
yeah,
Rebecca did was in the first week, because she'd reduced the calories, her body's burnt off all the excess kind of all the carbohydrates stored in the muscles. So she's lost a load of water weight, because this is the thing that, you know, people, places like Slimming World, Weight Watchers, all of these dieting clubs, they don't teach you that when you store a gram of carbohydrate, you hold on to 3 grams of water. When you lose that gram of carbohydrate in your muscles, the water goes as well. So, you
yeah,
know, you lose a kilo. Oh, that's a kilo of carbs. Okay, we don't really hold a kilo of carbs, but we hold half a kilogram of carbohydrates in our
yeah,
muscles. So you've lost 500 grams of carbohydrates, and you've also lost 1.5 kilos of water. That's £5 gone straight away, bang.
yeah,
And you've been in a deficit, so you've lost 2 pounds of fat. That's why you lose 7 pounds. But
yeah.
once you've used all of that carbohydrate up, you haven't got any more
Going
to
slow.
go. Water weight isn't going to go. So that
Yeah,
2 pounds of fat loss is the only thing that remains. So it's 7 pounds in the first week, then two. And oh, I've done something wrong. No, you've done everything right. You've done everything that you needed to. You've eaten at a deficit. You've lost 2 pounds of fat. Keep
yeah.
going, because if you do that for 6 months, you've lost 4 stone. Done.
And that's the thing, you can't lose £7 a week because of it. Like, you will die. There'll be
Yeah.
nothing left of you. If that continuously happened, there would be nothing left.
And that's a great, you know, it's not a linear thing.
It
Fat loss
can't just,
to be
there'll be nothing left. You'll be a skeleton, like you have
yeah,
nothing.
it's got to be a curve, because as you lose more body weight, your calorie expenditure is going to drop. Therefore, your calorie deficit is going to drop. So you are going to lose less body fat week on week. And this is the thing that people aren't told and they're not
Yeah,
explained to it. And I think that's what you've got to understand. Fat loss isn't a straight line. It will slow down. And that's normal. You don't have to then slash your calories to try and keep it going. You know, if
yeah,
you kind of think, right, actually, I'm getting close to my target weight, I'm all right in slowing down, because I'm building the habits that I need to sustain it. I'm actually building the routines that I need to sustain it, and I'm going to keep it going. If you slash your calories further, by the time you get to your goal weight, you're then starving. So it's just, and you're not building up the habit. So you just go
yeah,
back to the old things, and that's why your weight goes back on again. So, yeah, a normal rate of weight loss is 1 to 2 pounds per week, or 0.5 to 1% of your body weight, because that is literally the limit at which your body can kind of, unless you're willing to do short, sharp bursts of really, really aggressive deficits, that is how much fat your body can lose at any one given time. And it's a normal rate. It's great. As you get closer to your goal weight, your deficit is going to decrease, because there's less of you to burn calories. Now, you can counter that by increasing your activity. If you've got more energy, you know, because actually I'm not carrying around 30 pounds of excess fat, I can move a little bit more. So yes, you can counteract that, but you won't counteract all of it. You know, if you
yes,
are somebody who's when you started, your maintenance calories are 3,500, because you're carrying 30 to 40 plus pounds of excess body weight, you're going to burn a lot of calories. You know, if you want to put it into context, carry 40 pounds in a rucksack on your back, carry 3 stone, you know, and that's like 20 kilos. Put that in your backpack and walk around with it all day. You will be knackered. But that's what you've been doing, carrying that excess body weight. As you lose that weight, you might find you've got more energy, so you can do more steps, you can go harder in the gym, and you can counteract some of that kind of drop. But, you know, don't expect yourself to be just straight line all the way down. I know from my own weight loss, you know, I lost the first, so when I went down from sort of 21 down to just under 12, it's about 11 and a half, 12 stone. The first sort of 6, 7 stone were easy. They were quite
yeah,
quick. It's that last 2 stone, and
yeah,
it's just patience and consistency with that one. So yeah, 1 to 2 pounds is perfectly enough. And if you've got somebody in your office going, "Oh, do Slimming World because I lose 7 pounds in the first week," ask them what they lost in the second week, because I can guarantee it won't be 7 pounds again.
yeah, absolutely. And yeah, and that's, I think that's where these things come from, of like, what's a good rate of fat loss? You know, people want to know because they've seen that people can lose these huge amounts. But yeah, that's the reason why. And like I say, that's why the best advice you'll get, and you'll see it a lot, is that 1 to 2 pounds a week, because that is really your average rates of fat loss that you're looking at.
And I think the other thing that we need to kind of also think about is, don't compare yourself to anybody else.
Yeah, definitely.
don't compare yourself to you know, somebody else, because they might come in and go, and this one of the girls on the Shaping Up thing has had this experience at the end of the last rotation where one of her friends is starting to gone with another PT, and you know, is losing weight, but it's just really extreme workouts. You know, a lot of workouts, high intensity, low calorie, really high protein. And she's, yeah, it's great because she is losing a lot of weight, but it's not sustainable. And the the girl who's on the Shaping Up program knows that, she realizes that, but she's sort of
Yeah.
thinking, well, should I be doing that because she's losing lots of weight? And she knows that the answer is no, because it wouldn't
No.
work.
Yeah.
So it's kind of stop comparing your journey to anybody else.
Yeah.
It is entirely yours, and that's the thing you've got to think. So you do what works for you, whether that is, you know, slow and steady, whether you think actually I can do the aggressive thing for 2 weeks just to get myself motivated, or whether it's no, I'm going to focus on building those habits, getting stronger, changing my body shape, because ultimately, you know, weight might not actually be the real target. I put a post about that up the other day.
Yes. Yeah.
That was kind of triggered by reading something that somebody put down. So they'd, I think they spoke to a client about kind of fat loss, and the client had reached the goal weight, but they weren't, you know, this is, yeah, I've reached my goal weight, and now my target, I want to build muscle. I want to tone, use this word tone. I want to build muscle and get more defined. And the coach said, well, you've not really reached your goal weight then. You've not reached your goal because you had this idea that I hit this weight and I'm going to be happy. Are you
Yeah.
happy? No, I want to do this instead. Right. So the weight isn't important. It's,
Yeah.
you know, it's an image,
Body
it's
composition is
visualization we've got
Yeah.
normally. You know, it might be I want to fit into this dress. Well, dress size doesn't always marry up with weight. It might be, no, I want to have a bit of definition. I want to have nice shoulders and be able to get, you know, a sleeveless dress for the summer and have toned arms. That's nothing to do with weight. It might be that actually I want to, you know, I want some muscle in my legs, or I want to be able to run 5K in less than 30 minutes. Very little to do, a little bit to do with weight, because obviously if you want to run faster, lose a bit of weight, but there isn't a goal weight in there.
Yeah.
There is a goal, but it's not weight related. So yeah, I think that was a really good post that I read. And it's a question I often ask, and we've said before: lose 2 stone, stay the same size. Lose 2 dress sizes, stay
Yeah.
the same weight. Most people will pick the dress sizes.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, to go back to the rate of fat loss, 0.5 to 1%, 1 to 2 pounds. Don't be put off by other people, and don't think, oh, I should be doing what they're doing, because you know what works for them might not necessarily work for you.
Perfect.
It's a
Good
good point.
place to end.
Yeah, I think it's a
Really good one to end on. Yeah, definitely.
cool. All right, so yeah, we'll keep going with the Shaping Up and see how the girls are going on. We are
Yeah.
This is now going. We're now on Spotify.
We are now on Spotify.
So if anybody does discover this and they want to find out a little bit of how to work with us, then in September the 9th, we will be launching the next Shape Up, which is our 8-week program to get building habits and to get you in onto the sort of correct path for your fat loss journey, your health journey, whatever you want to achieve. We'll, as we go through these podcasts over the next sort of 8 weeks, we'll put little bits of bobs about how we work and what we're going to do. And Alice and I will also post up on our socials. So obviously we've got the Fitter Food Lover, which is my main one. And then Alice, you are Al Nutrition _
_ That's the one.
But yeah, you can follow us on that. So give us a follow, and you'll sort of see little snippets of these podcasts and things, and I'll put links to it as well. But yeah, if you want to see how you can work with us, drop us a message, and we will get back in touch with you. But keep your eyes peeled for more information. And if you go onto my socials and click on the link in the bio, if you want high protein breakfast ideas, there's a recipe book on there you can download for free. You can get onto the list for the Fit Food Lover newsletter that comes out every month with tips and things on there, and there'll be more stuff about the Shape Up program as well.
Yeah,
Lots of stuff.
amazing. We can't wait. We're looking forward to launching it, aren't we? There's exciting
Yes.
things still to
There's
come.
lots and lots of good stuff on that one. We've spent a lot of time, we've tweaked it, we've had people go through it. And I think the key thing for us is that we've got people going on the follow-up program Shaping Up, and they just keep
They stay. Yeah.
they stay, yeah,
We love it.
and it works because it's something that keeps them going. It's accountable, it's affordable, and it gives you structure, which I think is the key thing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Sure. Right. I think that's a really good place to end on. So yeah, it's bye from us. We will see you again next time. But yeah, bye for now.
Bye.